general manager is a fairly new title, both at SMU and across college football. So as a way of introducing your role, can you give a couple of highlights of the bigger responsibilities in your role within the SMU program?
Sure. With the GM role, you're overseeing the recruiting department. That encompasses the personnel department as well. You really look at recruiting as a whole as identifying, evaluating, marketing, customer service, onboarding. So you're really overseeing all those aspects of identifying the prospect, evaluating the prospect, the marketing piece of all the content and the communication we handle, and then really that customer service is all the visits that go on, if it's official, unofficial visits, game day visits, and then the onboarding piece is getting people squared away with their scholarships and then getting them onboarded into school through admissions.
So do you look at players and evaluate players as well, or is yours simply the coordination of the whole recruiting effort?
So a little bit of both. You oversee and handle the whole systematic approach to everything. Every one of those pieces have a system that go with it. But yeah, obviously my background's been evaluating players and seeing and watching those individuals and not just identifying, but you clearly have to do the evaluation from the prospect and the character evaluation, because obviously when you miss on who they are.
A lot of times when somebody joins a staff, it's because that person has a previous relationship either with the head coach or somebody else on the staff. Have you ever crossed paths before with Rhett Lashley or anybody else on this staff?
I've met Casey before on the road. When he was at UAB, I was at Jacksonville State. I'm sure our paths crossed recruiting at some of the schools, but not Rhett Lashley. I had never met him until taking this job.
So, all right. So, what events led to you getting here? Was it Casey Woods sort of recruiting you to SMU, or how did you and SMU
Sure.
meet for this role?
Actually, Casey reached out to me asking if I knew any possible names out there of people. For a long time, I've been someone that people have reached out to about possible jobs for different recruiting jobs, going on 15 years in the industry at this point. And then, I gave him a handful of names and didn't think much of it after that. And then I was in January just crossing back, just reaching out to coaches, visiting with them again, to see how everything is. A lot of times those coaches are on the road recruiting, and that's dead time, and just visiting with them and seeing how everything's went. Reached out to Casey, asked everything how's it going, asked him how some of the interviews went and how the people went, and really that was about it. He told me that's where they were in the process and everything, and then I just asked him, what is it you're really looking for? What's the role and all that kind of stuff? How many people do y'all have in place there? And it was something that sparked of interest.
All right, so what did he tell you they were looking for that really fit your skill set? What made you think this would be a great marriage?
Well, first off, when you're in Oklahoma, you're looking at the SEC as a whole. 9 is the average number that have in the SEC, as in the personnel department, recruiting, and everything like that. I'm coming at OU right now where we had 3 total full-time people. 3 at the time. Full-time people. We had just lost one to go to UCF. And really, I was just kind of like, man, how many y'all have there? Y'all have a lot of spots. And it sounded really intriguing, and plus the excitement that the SMU brand has right now, moving into a new conference, moving into a new facility. You're in Dallas. Location is everything when it comes to sales. And clearly, this was just, the more you listened to it, the more you heard about it, you're like, you know what, that might be a really exciting on the front end, something that can just truly explode. And that's what really excited me about it.
All right, your last stop was at Oklahoma, where you helped Coach Venables and his staff build a couple of very highly regarded recruiting classes. How hard a decision was this to leave Norman and come to Dallas?
Well, you look at every decision as what's the pros, what's the cons, and really when you look at the full piece of the picture, you look for opportunity. And I felt like this was a great opportunity of growth, of development, movement. That's what you're looking for. You're constantly looking for seeing what programs and what people are creating movement to try to advance their position. And I felt like really just what SMU was doing with new conference, new facilities, the excitement of the staff, what they've done in the portal as well. You just see it from afar. I felt like it was a really great excitement, and then there's a lot of positive energy behind it, and when you have positive energy, you have momentum. So you look at it from a business stance. You're like, who's really creating some positive momentum that's exciting, and really felt like SMU was doing that.
All right, let's back up a little. You played tight end at Central Florida. Would J.R. Sandlin, the recruiter, want to recruit J.R. Sandlin, the tight end?
Probably not. I probably learned a little bit about watching film, and I probably was a little too high on some of those blocks. He obviously had the size, had some of the potential. I mean, that's ultimately what you're looking for a lot of times is, does this individual have the potential to play the position? But moving on, I don't know. I'm probably a little tougher on my evaluations than just allowing old JR come on.
Looking back into some of your social media, you talk to recruits about ways in which they can try to stand out to coaches.
Sure.
At camps and that kind of thing. When you were coming out of high school, did you have any knowledge of that kind of thought process, how you could separate yourself from the crowd?
Probably not. No, a lot of it was built off of what can you do to help recruits. I mean, that's all it was. At the end of the day, I didn't really see a place where people were getting great information and knowledge. And two, I was kind of convicted in the sense, if you have this knowledge, if any human being has knowledge and they're not willing to share it, what are you doing with it? So shame on you if you're not sharing what you know to help other people. And that's what the whole platform was about. I always wanted to be a coach. Well, I don't want to say that. When I got into UCF, I think our experiences build into what we wanted to do. And I always wanted to be the coach I never had. So in doing that, I know I got to have that opportunity when I was at Jacksonville State to really pour into my guys and be that coach, be that mentor. But truly, with the social media and helping with the recruits, I was kind of convicted in this, where if you're not willing to share information freely, why would your help be pure when you're trying to get someone on board? Like if you're not willing to help people when they can do nothing for you, why would your help be pure when they can now? So like I'm a big believer the greatest success in life is others. So what are you doing to share into their lives? And that's just a piece of it, to be real honest.
After your playing career was over and before you got into recruiting, you coached in high school and, as you said, Jacksonville State. What did being a coach teach you that helped prepare you for your roles in recruiting?
I think you look at when you're dealing with players one-on-one as a coach, you can see how many behaviors they have and what they bring to the table. Like I said, when you miss on a player, it's not necessarily what you thought the potential was. It's ultimately who they are as far as in behavior, potential, their study habits, all those type of things. So you start asking different questions when you have the coach perspective. You ask, how do they study? How do they sacrifice? And you got to get tangible. This is the plan. This is the action. What do you do to dedicate and sacrifice for a team? If you're going to be a great teammate, what does that look like? What do you do to take notes? Do you take notes? You got to start asking some questions that when you're looking at the player as a whole, what do they bring to the table outside of just playing the game of football? Because if you think about it, there's 16,000 high schools out there. When you come to the college level, there's about 900, and then obviously 900 plus, almost close to 1,000. You calculate all of them, and then about 32 NFL teams. So what are you doing constantly to set yourself apart? I mean, that's the ones. And then really, when you find some of those guys, you're trying to find those ones that are willing to just chase perfection, even knowing that they're probably never going to reach it, but they're crazy enough to try to chase it.
Did you ever want to get back into coaching, or did you get into recruiting and realize that recruiting and roster construction, this is what you did you fall in love with this? Is this something you always wanted to do?
I love the idea of building a team. So wherever you can play a role in building and helping assist build a team, that's what it's about, because you're constantly building a puzzle. And you think about it, no team is ever the same. Each year teams are different because you have different personalities, and then some of those personalities have grown differently. They're not a freshman anymore, they're a sophomore, they're a junior. They've grown in their behavior, they're grown in their growth, they've grown in their development. So you're constantly trying to figure out what's the best formula to create us each and every year. And that's with personnel, that's with your people. Obviously, when you're dealing with individuals, you're just constantly looking for what can you bring in that's different, that can ultimately, if you think about it, we're all in the entertainment industry, so you're looking for players who have the talent set to play the position. You're looking for people who are fighters. You're looking for people who are fearless. You're looking for people who are or people that will inspire, and ultimately winners, because at the end of the day, we're all in the entertainment industry, and each school in America, I mean, the number one goal should be to create an escape that entertains create an escape that entertains their masses. I mean, just their local region. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So what are you doing to create that, and are you finding individuals that are going to do that for that purpose?
From your standpoint, whether it's coordinating visits to a campus or whether it's social media messaging, is there a difference for you when it comes to recruiting high school juniors and seniors versus 20, 21-year-old guys at other colleges who are considering SMU as transfers?
Is there a difference in recruiting them all?
Yeah.
I think you got to figure out what each of them want. You know, each time, every person wants something different. Is it playing time? Is it an opportunity to come home for location? Is it playing style? Is it personalities? Is it the brand they want to be a part of? Just there's different pieces of the pie that you have to figure out. And the best thing to do is just ask them. You know, just ask them. And what is it that's going to lead you to say yes? What is it going to lead you to commit? I mean, you got to ask most of these guys, you're going to make a commitment, yes? Sure. Yes, I am. So what does that commitment plan look like, and what's going to lead to your commitment? A lot of times they know, sometimes they don't know. And now you're helping them and coach them through that process so they can actually articulate it. And maybe that's the first time they've done it, so they can actually do it. It's really hard to do, but you don't put into action.
You often hear coaches talk about guys they recruited, and when they get on the field and they score their first touchdown or they become significantly contributing players, they talk about the sense of pride they have, as in, that's my guy. As a recruiting general manager, at your previous stops, have you had similar feelings when guys you've helped recruit end up becoming productive players?
I think it's more about our guy, personally. I think it's about our guy, and you're all coming to play for that team, and whatever that team is at the time, you're doing everything you can to leave it better than you found it. And how do you do it? You serve it, you honor it, you respect it. That's the action plan behind it. So I think you look at it from a whole. I mean, this is someone that we're bringing onto the Mustangs, and you see the crowd, and you see people excited, you see everyone. You got to be in that position where you don't take a great deal of pride of like, oh, that's my guy, that's our guy. And is everyone fired up about that individual being a part of the Mustang family or a part of that team? I think that's the more approach that you have to take. And then when you see that, and you see people get excited about those individuals, then that's the piece of a little rewarding. But you got to keep chasing and continue to find those individuals that are going to continue to bring that excitement year in and year out. Because we all know that there's an expiration date on every one of these players. They either got 4 years or 5 years or whatever it is, and you got to constantly keep bettering yourself and out recruiting what you currently have.
Coaches talk about the anticipation of an upcoming season, in this case a few months away here. Your job is pretty much year round, right? Do you get ramped up as we get into June and July and August, or are you more of a steady emotional schedule year round?
It's recruiting's 24/7. I mean, you're constantly turning over, trying to focus on that process, identifying, evaluating, marketing, customer service, and as you're identifying new players, obviously we're in camp season right now. So there's a lot of kids out there that are getting identified because they had great testing or great size or things, and maybe they don't have game film right away, but now they become on a list because they did test well, and now you start watching those guys in the fall when they are playing varsity football for the first time. So no, you really constantly just, I've joked around and said, if everyone stopped having kids today, you still got 18 years of work to do. So I mean, you do. And I think it's how you approach that is you better be even keel the whole time, because we're in the entertainment industry. It's all about them. We better do a great job creating a product for the fans to enjoy.